Hi, welcome, guys, to the Dream Podcast. Hi, Melinda. Hi, Mark. How are you guys doing today? All right, let's get this show started. So, first, I want to start by doing a few lotus breaths, which are to help us get centered and also to breathe in some of the energy and really also not only that, but it's also going to help clear distortions in our DNA. Okay, so here we go. Close your eyes. Imagine that you are breathing in from 6 points, so it's like a lotus flower, top, down, left, right, front, and back. And you're going to imagine breathing in not only air, but also energy into a center point. I personally like focusing on my thymus, which is the azure. You can focus on any area you want. I'm just going to do 3 of these breaths, okay? So as you breathe in, the petals close. 1, breathe out through the mouth or through the nose. And the petals expand. 1 more time. And 1 last time. Okay, so now that we're all nice and centered, I'm gonna start by sharing a little bit of just the energy check-in. I always like starting out with that around this area. Has been, yeah, the energy has been pretty intense, a little bit heavy, but I found that I can actually shift my perspective, from feeling all these, because we tend to absorb a lot of what's happening in our surroundings, with other people as well. So I decided that I was going to take this as okay. This is an opportunity, for me to grow from this and really see it more as DNA upgrades, like I was saying in my previous podcast. And then also identifying why I was actually feeling this way, because I'm like, well, it just doesn't make sense because things are going pretty well, except that there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of needing to really lean into the unknown for me and for a lot of people right now. It feels like it's this way because we're not really sure of how things are going to look like in a few months, and sometimes we get these insecurities of like, am I really doing the right thing? Have I chosen the right path? So I'm like, well, you know what? I have the impression that the more we lean into the unknown, the easier it becomes later on to really trust that things are happening for our greater good no matter what we do. And we start opening up to opportunities to actually, engage with this reality in a more, I guess, yeah, joyful way, not being the victim of what we're creating. So hey, Gavin, how are you? So I completely switched my perspective this week of, instead of just absorbing all these energies that I was feeling coming in and feeling really tired, like energetically tired, I leaned into that. I'm like, okay, this is how I feel right now, but that doesn't mean it's going to last forever, And so I started just focusing on what can I do in the now to make me feel better. What is it that I need to do? And so, it starts with one little thing. It could just be like going outside. So that's what I did. I went for a walk. And then all these downloads started coming in as to why I was actually feeling this way. Just kind of, instead of focusing too much on the problem, you kind of go out there and just breathe and zoom out and see the bigger picture. And that's when answers started coming through. And then I was also asking questions right before bed. I would write down questions, and I would get things in my dreams. Lately I've been getting a lot of things that are pointing at something that I'm still, needing to let go of. And so I'm like, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, of why I get reoccurring things of like water, ships, family stuff still, and so I'm like, okay, well, what is it that I have to do? And I keep asking questions, which leads me to what I'm going to talk about here in a bit. So I've been participating in this, it's like a Jungian platform dream summit. And I just want to talk a little bit about the things that really stuck from what I learned in the conferences, because they're really good. And One of the things was like one guy was, what was his name? I wrote it down. Machiel Clerk. If anybody wants to check him out, he was saying how important it is to ask the right questions. This applies when doing dream work, but also when you're just in your everyday life. Sometimes you want to know answers and you want to ask yourself things, and but you don't really get the answer sometimes, and it's not because uh, it's not important perhaps, but to you in the moment it is important, but it might not be so important for your journey, for your evolution. When you're communicating, for example, with you may call them higher aspects, your future selves. Some people might say they communicate with God, whatever you feel like you're connecting with. For me, I like to think about it as my future selves, because I've connected with future aspects of myself when I have certain dreams where I'm like literally meeting a person that looks like me, doing something like in the future. And so I like seeing it that way, because yeah, I mean, it's like when you're thinking about this in terms of dimensions as well, higher dimensional frequencies are in the future. So anyway, when you're communicating, right, you're asking some questions, but that might not really be important to your personal growth, so you're not going to get answers, and then we get all disappointed, and it's like, why can't I get the answer to this? But maybe try to shift the question and see if asking something different will actually provide you a better answer. And that has definitely worked for me, where when I ask something that's actually meaningful and that will help me along in my journey, then I will get something in my dream, or even right before bed, I will be meditating on it and I'll get an answer right away. So that was like something that really stuck from the conference. And then also there was this other lady called Leslie Ellis, is her name. She was really good at explaining how you can let your body interpret your dreams. And also she talked a lot about, and I know this might be interesting for a few people listening, I'm thinking about a few people that have talked to me about how their dreams can be really frightening lately. So like nightmares, or you get experiences in dream state where you're like, I don't know what to do with this. Is this an entity, or is this someone that's coming up coming to get me, or something. So there's a lot of frightening experiences in dreams. And this woman was saying, how we can actually make even the frightening dream experiences be helpful, that because dreams really are our friends, even things that might not be like, they don't seem like dreams. Maybe sometimes, we've got these like sleep paralysis. I've had a lot of those, of like feeling like something is literally on top of you, or you see something leaving your body or coming at you, and you're just like, so all of these things can also be looked at from another perspective, as something that might be able to help you, and get information from it as well. So what she was saying is that there, first of all, she tells people to focus on elements that might be less frightening in the experience or in the dream, right? And focus on what those elements could be bringing in terms of messages. And you could, for example, just focus on that object and say, well, if this object was speaking to me, what would it say? you know and then later, once the emotional charge is a little bit less about the dream, and you've engaged with other things or other people in the image, then you go and look at the image that might have frightened you, or that might have caused you some uncomfort, feeling of uncomfort. So then it's like you switch the perspective and see it more in a way of like feeling compassion and curiosity towards that object, versus fear, because there's really nothing to fear. That's the thing. It's like we are safe. We're in a universe that wants to protect us, that wants us to be happy. And of course, there are like crazy things out there and stuff. But as long as you're trusting that you're protected, nothing can really happen to you. And whatever things seem that quote unquote bad that happen to us, they're always going to be for a greater good later on. So no matter what we go through, it's what we need in order to evolve. So it's if you see it this way, and you're like, okay, let's say you dream of a spider, right, a big fat spider, and you're like, okay, now let me see this spider, but approaching it more like with curiosity and even compassion. you might discover that there is something that's reflecting something within yourself, or something that might even cause you to feel like the spider is actually your friend. It's not really your enemy. Or yeah, there was this example of a lady that had a spider in her dream a lot, and then when she started looking at it more with that curious, attitude, she saw that the spider actually had these eyes that looked very friendly, actually, and she started feeling compassion for the spider, because it reminded her of herself when she was younger and she felt ugly. She said, I didn't want people to look at me. I was so we have these moments when we're adolescents where we have these complexes, right, that are not logical, but that happen. And she's like, that reminded me of how I felt when I was young. And so looking at it that way, she processed all those emotions, because these dreams sometimes, especially nightmares, are pointing to something that might not be resolved from our childhood or adolescence. That happens a lot. Okay, so but anyway, I wasn't really, expecting a big audience today, and plus I didn't really plan on a specific topic. I really wanted just to share what I've been learning here in the last couple days, for the through the conferences and everything. So yeah, I mean, uh, the whole the topic for me, I think, is going to be uh, changing your perspective, right, of things that may seem scary or that may seem like they're bad. Once you start looking at them with that curiosity, right, and that feeling of like, okay, this is happening for my greater good, that completely shifts the emotional charge of the dream image or the thing that's happening to you in this reality, because they're all linked, right? I mean, it's like yeah, it's easy for us to get lost in the feeling of thinking, oh, this is definitely, I don't know if I can get through this, or how long is this going to last for. But it's not going to last forever, and it's up to you to decide, when is it going to end. When you decide to switch your perspective, and that starts bringing in new things, new opportunities to connect with people or to participate in events, or certain things might start popping up in your life. And that's exactly what happened to me last week. Once I stopped being in that victim mode, things started happening, and you attract certain people, you attract more people. They want to talk to you, instead of staying in that little bubble of like, we tend to stay in our little bubble sometimes. But yeah. And then, oh, there was also this other talk about dream tending, which was really interesting, because it talks about how dream images are literally alive. They're not static, and everything that you revisit when you're revisiting your dreams, you can see it, as something that you can talk, to the images. And it doesn't have to be a person, it could be an object as well, just kind of like what they were saying with, when there's nightmares involved. Same thing, it's like, if you look at a dream image, and you think, okay, if this thing could speak, what would it say, right? And then another thing too was that you can detect certain areas in your body that might be related to, that feeling, maybe an uncomfortable feeling or something, and that your body also gives you information. And that's, oh yeah, I skipped that part, because that's actually what she was talking about mainly, is that when you the title was "Let Your Body Interpret Your Dreams" with Leslie Ellis. And so she was saying that when you identify a certain area in your body where, that image, that she says, for example, look at the image and think about where in your body would you locate the feeling that image brings up in you, right? So that is usually pointing to somewhere where you can get information, because our cells hold a lot of information. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, for example, the fascia. This is like, it's like an organ in our body. Let's put it that way. It's like a meat suit, right? It's like all the, it's like, I guess you could call it like a connective tissue, or how do you call this? Yeah, so it's like the skin when like underneath. And so this is like connective tissue. It connects every single part of your body, and it contains so much information. So that is, we don't think about it this way most of the time, right? Our cells holding this memory, but they do. right? And this could be things from childhood trauma, but it could also be even past life trauma. So all these things that we're holding in our bodies and also in our lower chakras a lot are things that we need to clear sometimes in order for us to stop having these nightmares or experiences in which we get kind of, these images of maybe very dark areas, or dark places, or yeah, like very low oscillating energies, so all these are related to the lower dimensional chakras, like D1, D2, and maybe, and then the D3 would start being like the more like the mental body, and then after that you've got the superconscious mind, and the all the other aspects of yourself that you might be able to connect with as well during dream state, to get, yeah, messages like for your evolution as well, for connecting maybe with the energy of another person. There are many things that happen when you're connecting with those higher dimensional frequencies, and usually those dreams are very yeah, very vivid, and sometimes they can seem like maybe lucid dreaming as well. But yeah, I mean, I've had some of those dreams where I'm just like, wow, this is, it's definitely very crazy as well, very crazy dreams. But I'm in places where, it's very I guess like fantasy looking, it's like, for example, jellyfish floating in space, and stuff like that, and you're in a mission, or you're like, I was like, in one of them I was a robot with this other person, and we were like killing a bunch of robots all over the place, and then we like went into these jellyfish to rest, and it was just like, wow, okay, so we get these missions. We get these, literally like these missions where we're training in parallel realities. So anyway, you can communicate with these images, and see like, why am I dreaming about this dragon or this jellyfish, what does it represent for you, and how can it help you eventually connect with your higher dimensional aspects, and also develop your higher dimensional senses, because I was talking about this last time about how through dreams we can get clues as to how we can develop those higher dimensional senses that we all have, because we don't only have 5 or 6 senses, like people say. We have at least 12 senses, okay? So all that stuff, it's a DNA upgrades and all that can also be done through dream work, right? So yeah, I'm inviting you guys to really want to communicate. If you want to communicate with these dream images, you can do that. Write it down, write all of your dreams down, and pick maybe there are some keywords or things that are repetitive, and be like, okay, why do I keep dreaming of a dragon, or why is it that I keep dreaming of a jellyfish? And also see it from 2 perspectives. There's the personal meaning, the things that you personally think about these images, and then you've got the mythological, or the archetypal. I always have a problem with this word, archetypal meaning of dream images as well. So yeah, what does it mean for you? And then look and see what the mythology behind it is, and there will usually be a message when you feel like there's this aha moment, of like, oh, this definitely rings a bell, this is what it is. That's when you've uncovered something. And it might not be that same day, it might be through a series of dreams, or you might do it, like maybe a month later you might figure it out. It doesn't matter. It's like, you have to keep, that's why it's important to keep a dream journal, to in order to discover what the dream series is, which is something that was also emphasized in this conference by one of the speakers. Is that in the dream tending one, it's like, yeah, dream images are alive and they'll talk to you, but also you're going to see that they evolve if you have chosen to communicate more with your dreams and really honor that they're giving you messages. The dreams themselves will communicate more with you. It's like tending to this relationship, with another person, but in reality it's just an aspect of yourself, right? So somebody who says that, they call it the dreamer. I forget what his name is. I forget. Yeah, this guy was saying about like how he tends to call the person that's like giving you the messages, he calls him the dreamer, right? So he's like, you have to tend to this relationship with the dreamer, and the more you do that, the dreamer will give you more messages and will give you more of a series, like really a series of dreams to look at, because it recognizes that you're paying attention and that you're honoring the importance of dreams, right? So yeah, it's a relationship that we have to tend to, and that was also something that was very emphasized by a lot of the speakers. I think pretty much everybody has said that. It's like a really tend to the relationship. It's like with a romantic relationship too. It's the same thing. If you don't pay attention to the other person, then it's eventually it's going to be like, well, they're going to be like, oh, you don't care, okay. And so yeah, with the dreams, it's yeah, like I said, keep a dream journal or record it as well. You can record the dreams in your phone. That's what I do, because when you wake up, normally you're just like, oh, well, the energy to write down stuff. It's like, but it depends on what you prefer. But either way, just keep a record somewhere of the dreams. Or any other experiences that you might be having. If you have these weird like sleep paralysis, like take note of the date, the time if you can, and look at other things that are happening, right? Like, what did you do the night before? How are you feeling as well? Feelings are super important too. Like, how are you feeling that day? And maybe even other things like, what were the alignments in the sky that day, right? I've been looking at that, and it's really interesting because I've had certain experiences where, the ones where I get the earringing, and I've noted that they are usually when there's some kind of alignment happening in the sky that seems very potent. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep looking and see if this is going to be really a pattern, or it might not be. But I'm really being a a scientist here with this, and that's what we can do with our dreams. Is really you're a scientist, right? You can write down everything and see the patterns, and then that in and of itself will unlock so many things, because yeah, you will maybe have more assertive control over what happens in the dreams. Maybe you'll be able to do lucid dreaming more, or at least more dream clarity for sure. Dream recall and dream clarity, which I was talking about this. Oh yeah, the workshop. So I did a workshop online yesterday. For those of you who missed it, I will be providing the recording here shortly on my YouTube channel. And we talked a lot about this. How yeah, to how important it is, to be like the scientist, to be curious about all this stuff that happens and write everything down. But also, people share their experiences, and that was really interesting to see as well, because yeah, there's like so much going on right now in dream state. And yeah, it was really enriching, to hear what people had to say. And we did mini dream interpretations as well. Yeah, I helped a few people interpret the dream. This very at a very superficial level. Just kind of to give them an idea of what to think about. But because these sessions, when I've had dream sessions with people, they can get really deep and very personal. So stuff that maybe we wouldn't be sharing online and stuff. But just to give you guys an idea, if you want to check it out, of the basics of dream work. And also I shared a little bit about techniques, that you could do. Yeah, the importance of writing down everything. What else did I say? Anyway, I'll let you guys check that out if you wanna see it later. But I'll be doing more of these workshops. Okay, if you guys are interested in joining. And yeah, probably the same, maybe dream space check-in kind of thing as well. Or I was also thinking about doing one focused more on protection techniques for before bed, because I think that is really important, to keep your energy, your yeah integrity of your energy, especially when you go to places like the astral realm, right, where there's a lot of crazy beings there, and there can be, let's say, risks of like yeah, entity attachments, or things where you get your energy kind of siphoned. But it's like I said, everything like that, you're always protected anyways, and the universe will only give you what you can handle. I love that saying, because it's so true. And yeah, so anyway, protection techniques I think are pretty important. I might do one for that. And yeah, so What else did I have to say for today? Um, Really, just no, nothing more than that. I mean, I don't know if you guys wanted to share anything. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna end it pretty soon because yeah, it's been a crazy week. I haven't really had the time to read a lot on dreams, except for the summit. I looked at the conferences and stuff, but I've been mostly really resting. Having taking really the time to slow down and a lot of sleep. I've been sleeping a lot lately, so yeah, barely now getting my energy back again. So it feels nice because I went for a run yesterday. I hadn't even, for like 10 days, I swear, I was just out of it. Like, yeah. So, anyway, um, what else did I have to share? I don't think there's anything else. All right. Well, you know what, guys? If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm here for that as well. Otherwise, I'll see you guys again next week. I think I'm gonna be switching the times here and there because of my schedule. But like next week, I'll probably do it at 6 p.m. at like usual, and then the week, 1 week 2 p.m. and the other week at 6. So it's like people get to see the show if they can't at that time, at 6 p.m. So anyway, yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here, and I will see you again very, very soon. And please check out the replay for the workshop. Check out Dream Scripts if you haven't done that yet. And yeah, that's it. Okay. See you guys again very soon. Bisous.